This is the third video made for adopters to understand the idiosyncrasies and capabilities of the Kendo grid and chart, especially in a 2D environment where we have a series or a group. And this video is showing what happens with missing values. You'll notice here that we have a chart that corresponds with this data table down here. And you can see that it's two-dimensional data set with a group going on because we have this group row control where we can expand and collapse and all that good stuff. You can see the second video for more capability on how to use this Kendo grid. One thing I want to show here is what happens when you sort by something that has missing values. So you'll notice when we first come into this page, I'm going to refresh this page again. It sorts correctly, 2001 all the way up through 213. This sort value is based on the XML element that's called sort underscore order for the particular category field, which in this case is year. This is our series column, this is our category column. What happens though is we have missing values, and the way Kendo appears to deal with missing values, they do not produce what's called a data frame. They take the first series, which in this case is Utah old methodology, and they use that as its baseline, as their baseline to determine what the possibilities are. And it just so happens that they get all the way through this and they just kind of tack these Utah new and US new on after the fact. So let me demonstrate this. I'm going to sort by year. So I'm going to click on year, sorted ascending, and so far so good. 2001 through 213. Now let's make it a descending. I'll just force it to be descending and show you what happens. So now you look at the data and you say, well, it kind of looks a little different. It starts at 2010 and not 213, and that's because the primary series, this Utah old methodology, is what is being used for sorting. If I turn this column off, and if you were to turn this off in the data, it would still look this way. You would have to turn off even the US old one. Now your Utah new methodology would be your first series, and so you see the missing values that you have there for these others. So you would hope that the Kendo grid would actually do the unsort correct, but in this case they don't. So if you click on the column again to get the original undo sort, you'll see something really interesting here. It goes 2001, 2003, 2002, ends up over here in this chart, in this particular instance. This is a bug. A ticket has been filed with Kendo. We'll see how they respond and see if they fix this problem. But you need to be aware of it. The way that you get it back to the original sort order is refresh your browser. That's pretty much it. Unless you just happen to luck out and the default sorting of year works. In this case it does. You can sort it ascending even if you go through and get it all messed up. If I go back and say sort it ascending, it still works correctly. So in this case it does work correctly. But you need to be aware that when you have missing values, the sorting can get a little bit confusing, especially when you have your first series that does not contain everything. And by everything I mean all possible data points. So in other words, a data cube or a data frame is what Lois calls it for the query side. Also, I need to point out that it doesn't matter the chart type. The chart actually behaves exactly the same. So if I change the chart, this is a stack bar. If I change this to a line, the sorting looks good. If I change sorting from, we'll just put it descending and look at it, again it has the exact same behavior as before with the stacked bar. And if I go and try to set it back to normal, I get 2001, 2003, 2002 over here. So it's the same exact behavior. It doesn't matter what chart type you're talking about, it still behaves the same. Again, I'll just reiterate that things work correctly when you first enter in on the page, as long as you have your XML's sort order field populated correctly. And again, it doesn't matter how you populate that sort order. That is what will be used. If you don't have that populated, then there's some interesting rules that have been programmed into the XSLT code that tries to use position and or the value. If it's a numeric value, it'll try to use that. Otherwise, it uses the position. It's going to be funky if you don't specify the sort order and you want it sorted in a particular way. Sometimes it'll work out for you, sometimes it won't. So just pay attention to it, be aware of it, and test. Again, you cannot sort on the thing that's grouped or the series. That does not work. And you cannot change the ordering of your legend in your chart. That is tied to the ordering within the series themselves. And again, that series is specified via your XML sort order element. So I hope this video is helpful. Please review these and make really good videos for your users. Thanks.